Jeff Cowan here from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk, and I'm back with a new edition of my podcast entitled Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, the path to making over $100,000 a year when writing service in the automotive industry in the United States of America, Canada, and Australia. And you know what, this very recording, just under 21% of you are doing just that, making $100,000 a year or more plus benefits, doing that job. Congratulations on that. I mean, that is outstanding. And you know what? I've been getting lots of phone calls, texts, and emails from people over the last year that said, hey, Jeff, you know, I've been listening to your podcast because I'm not making $100,000 a year. So I started listening to your podcast. I started doing what you recommended. I took the word tracks, the processes, the techniques, and now I'm making $100,000 a year. I've been getting phone calls, people saying they're increased their income by 20, 40, 50%, perfect survey scores, no heat cases, and on and on and on and on. And I can do the same for you. All you got to do, if you're not making 100 grand or if you are making 100 grand, continue to listen to me, watch my other podcasts, go to automotiveservicetraining.com, read my articles and blogs there, and you'll find everything you need to be the best service advisor that there is. Hey, I'm going to stay with what I've been doing here the last several weeks, and that is answer questions, because I just keep getting tons and tons of questions from the viewers like you that watch us every week. So I got one question I'm going to answer here today, and here's what it is. Jeff, can you give me 4 tips on being the best service advisor in town? Can you give me 4 tips on being the best service advisor in town? Well, yeah, I've got 4 tips for you. And you know, again, this is kind of general here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them to you in reverse order from 4 to 1. So let's get started. Number 4. Don't rely on technology. Don't rely on technology. Now, I want to be clear here because I get called out from time to time. Jeff Cowan doesn't like technology. I love technology. I've said it thousands of times. I wouldn't work on a service drive that didn't have texting and emailing. I wouldn't work on a service drive that didn't have some type of tablet to write up customers with. I wouldn't work on a service drive that didn't have video and online reservations and all that stuff. I love it. I think it's useful. I think it makes you efficient, but I would never rely on it to get the job done for me. And you know, that's what too many of you do. You rely on texting. You don't pick up the phone and call the customer. You text them. You don't pick up the phone and call the customer. You email them or you send them a video. You don't pick up the phone and take their information when they're wanting to bring their vehicle in. You let them do it online or you let somebody else do it, you know. And so what's happened is you've taken yourself out of the equation. And this is why this is important. You're in a selling position. What you're paid to do is handle customers and sell. Handle customers and sell. And the best way to do that is you have to talk to them. You have to talk to them. Now, I understand what's going on here. The auto industry has been just on this huge plan the last 5 to 10 years to make themselves into Amazon. We want to sell cars online so customers don't have to talk to us. We want to do service online so customers don't have to talk to us. And their numbers have fallen through the floor. The profits fallen through the floor. Why? Because we're taking out the most important ingredient in any of those transactions, you. You know, even though we live in an Amazon world and you would assume that everything's bought online, did you know that in the United States at this very recording that 86% of any sale that's made on a daily basis still requires eyeball to eyeball, voice to voice, face to face interaction with a customer? And you know what? We fit into that category because when you're in sales and you're in retail sales like we are when we're service advisors on these service drives, you're in the people business. So the better your skill when it comes to handling customers and being able to sell them, the better you're going to be. So use technology, allow it to make you more efficient, but don't depend on it. Number 3, focus on building relationships with your customers. You know, when you're writing service, you got to look at this as just not a one and done. And for my liking, too many service people do that. They just write up the customer one and done, one and done. Or we go to these shops. This one drives me nuts. You know, whoever gets out to the customer first gets them. We don't assign customers to advisors. Whoever gets them first or picks them. That's dumb. Okay, that's dumb because you want the advisor to have the relationship with the customer so they come back. And you as an advisor, you want to be working someplace where they allow you to build a clientele because you should be able to steadily increase your income above the $100,000 you were talking about by impressing people, selling them on you, by building that relationship, being able to build rapport. Because remember, you're in the people business here, right? And getting them to come back as long as they own the car and their next car and their spouse's car and their kids' car and their friends and families. So tip number 3 is focus on building the long-term relationships. You know, when you look at the average customer today, when they're buying a new car, and they're driving it 6 years plus. I mean, that's a long time to do business with somebody, and the only way you can get them to keep coming back is, or not the only way, but one of the strongest ways is to focus on building a relationship. Number 2, okay, so again, remember, number 4 was don't rely on technology. Number 3 was focus on building relationships with your customers. Number 2, have a process that is based on helping customers, ones that make them understand that you're honest and you're sincere and you're dedicated and you care and you're willing to build that relationship. Now, what do I mean by having a process that's consistent in doing that? Well, let's just go over some of the things here. You have to be able to have the skill and teach yourself the skill and learn the skill and continually sharpen that skill of controlling the customer. You have to control the customer in the situation. You have to be willing to set realistic expectations. Never ask a customer when they want their car back. Never ask them what they want to spend. Never ask them any of that stuff because it's irrelevant. It takes as long as it does. You take control. You set the expectations for them. You have to be willing to walk around cars and do what I call show and tell. I mean, not only show them what's going on with their vehicle, but explain to them why you can help them and the benefits of allowing you to do that, how they benefit from it. You have to have strong phone skills. Now, this is a major weakness we find with most service advisors because we've relied on the technology so much that we text and we email and the videos and whatnot that we've lost the ability to pick up a phone and call a customer. And let me just tell you something as clear as I can. You are insane when you get an estimate from the technician to text or email the customer the numbers and what's going on and expect them to answer. You never do that. You can text and email them and say, we'll be calling you in the next 10 or 15 minutes so I can go over what the technician found and explain to you what we're going to do to get it repaired and the benefits of allowing me to do that, and then try and close it because you're in the people business. That's how it's done. If you do that, you'll make $75,000 to $100,000. You'll make above $100,000 a year. But if you rely on that technology again, man, it won't happen. You got to have strong phone skills. And that's one of the things we do, by the way, at Pro Talk when we visit and we go into places, is we'll sit side by side with advisors and we'll make phone calls with them and show them exactly how to handle the phone. Talk about in our workshops too. Another part of the process should be you have to be the best at closing sales and handling objections. And how you tell whether or not you do that is you monitor your closing ratio. Closing ratio. You know, your closing ratio should be a minimum 70%. 70%. I know some people that are as high as 90%, 70%. Now, I make those comments to people say 70%, 90%. Come on, don't get dramatic. No, come on. I mean, this sells different. You know, when people come in, if they have bad brakes, it's not a question if they're going to buy brakes or not. The only question is, are you skilled enough to handle them and close them on getting them to buy them right now today? It's not a question when your technician finds things wrong with the car or you see things when you walk around the car that are wrong, whether or not the customers are going to pay somebody to fix it. The only question is, are you strong enough and dedicated enough at your job and your career to be able to convince them to do it right now today? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. You know, so 70%, I mean, it's not a question whether or not they're going to do this stuff. It's just, can you get it done? You got to be great at explaining the benefits, giving 6-step presentations. Your process should have a great delivery in it. Can you deliver the vehicle at the end of the day, line by line, explaining what you did, why you did it, how both benefits you and your the customer in their car. You have to have excellent follow-up skills and be willing to send handwritten thank you notes. So that's what I'm talking about. Have a process that's based on helping customers. And those things I just talked about, although that was quick, it was very general, that's the kind of things that show customers, hey, I'm dealing with somebody here that's dedicated. I'm dealing with somebody here that really knows what's going on. I'm dealing with somebody here that I trust and I want to come back for years with all of my cars and all my family's cars and do business. And when they do that, you get the house you want, the car you want, your kids are educated, all that stuff. So, again, number 4, don't rely on technology. Number 3, focus on building relationships with your customers. Number 2, have a process that is based on helping customers, which I described. And then number 1, drum roll please. You're going to love this one. Never stop training to be the best. Never stop training to be the best. That's what these people do the best. They never stop training. Never stop training. They're the best at handling customers. They're the best at getting upsells. People that are the best at this job, they invest in themselves. They'll take 2 to 5% of their annual budget and invest it in training, invest it in books, invest it in videos. You got to get out of this habit of getting all this free training everywhere because, they're only going to give you so much. I mean, I'm going to give you a lot of stuff to help you on the podcast, but if you want the stuff that's really going to make the big difference, quick and fast and hard-hitting and make you, at some point in time, you're going to need to invest in the training, right? So they never stop training. So what's a training program look like? Well, these people that never stop training, they dedicate a minimum of 15 minutes a day of reading something or watching something that's going to help them better handle customers and be better closers and better salespeople. They dedicate 1 hour a week in addition to that of their own time, again, studying their craft, which is handling customers and selling. And then they take at least once a year, they'll take a week and go train themselves with some type of sales training, customer handling skills, and if the place they work doesn't pay for it, they pay for it themselves. I mean, that's the way it is. And I got to tell you, I've been a salesperson for a long time, and there's not been 1 year since the first day I started selling, 1 year that I've not invested 2 to 5% of my income back into my business. I mean, and back into me, not into my business, but into me. I spend thousands of dollars on materials to help me get better every single day. So again, the 4 tips. Number 4, don't rely on technology. Number 3, focus on building relationships. Number 2, have a process that's based on helping customers and satisfying customers. And number 1, never stop training to be the best, because the second you do, you will fall from being just that, the best. Hey, my name's Jeff Cowan. I have a company called Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk, and we love training service advisors, service managers, quick lube, BDC, anything you got going on there. We can do it. We can come to you to do the training, stand with you side by side, coach, critique, role play, and do the job to show you how our stuff works. You can send people to us. I can come to you and do workshops. We have online training. We got it all. Why? Because we're Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk. What does that mean to you? You're talking to the absolute best in the world at what they do, and we love doing it. So between now and next time, dial that 800 number, go to automotiveservicetraining.com, check us out. In the meantime, you go make it a great week, a great month, great year, and you do everything you can to be the best so you can maximize the opportunity and you can have the lifestyle that you so deserve. Because between now and the next podcast, that is exactly what I am going to do. God bless you all. Talk to you soon. Take care.